No, it's not a surprise to us. We've certainly been aware of this issue for many years, actually. SAPOL, since 2014, has been running Operation Atlas, which has actually been targeting amphetamine-type stimulants. We've certainly been aware of what's been happening in the community. We've put in place strategies to deal with that. We updated that in 2016. Unfortunately, we've seen through talking with our other policing services, our other agencies that we deal with, basically the Australian Federal Police, Border Force, we've seen detections at the border in large amounts. So we were certainly aware what was actually happening within the community, and unfortunately it's confirmed what we thought.
Do we know why it's so prevalent in South Australia compared to other states?
No, we're not aware of the reasons as to why people are using methamphetamine at a high level. We're certainly aware that other substances such as cocaine, heroin, MDMA are lower than other states, but unfortunately for us, methamphetamine is certainly very high. As a result of that, one of the things that we've been able to do, and certainly over the past year or two, is conduct community forums. And they were conducted both in the metropolitan area and also in the country locations. And that was about giving the community information. We did that in partnership with health, with local non-government agencies, local police. And that was about giving people the opportunity to understand what meth was, because a lot of people had not even seen what meth looked like, what a meth pipe looked like. So I was able to give them information so they could talk with their family members. If they saw anything, they could bring Crime Stoppers and make a report to police.
How would police describe the way the situation with us is at the moment here? Like, what language would you use to describe?
It is very disheartening that unfortunately members of our community have an addiction to methamphetamine. Methamphetamine is very addictive. And as a result of their behaviour, for either trying it due to peer pressure or wanting to try something different, they get addicted. And unfortunately, their behaviour affects not only their family, themselves, but also the community. So it puts a lot of pressure not only on policing services, but also health services. To treat addiction is very costly, and it requires people to be actively involved and want to change their behaviour.
Anecdotally, is the police force feeling that pressure in connection to that drug?
We're certainly focusing our resources towards methamphetamine. We've made some big seizures recently with our partners. We had the 313 kilograms in February. We had 119 kilos just recently, as in early last year, in Bow Hill. And it certainly shows what is actually happening within our state. Also, we have certainly been aware of the 1.2 tonne seized in WA, in which 2 South Australians were involved. So we are certainly talking with not only our local police here on the ground in country towns or within the metropolitan area, but we're also talking with other policing services around Australia and also internationally to see what is actually occurring.
With this much coming in, it must be sort of scary to think what level of demand there is out there for ice.
One of the good things about the wastewater results is it actually gives a scientific analysis of what is actually occurring, where previously we relied on people to tell us what actually they were taking, how often they took it. We've got some scientific analysis now that puts us on a level playing field with other states, so we can see actually what's occurring within the community. As a result of that information, we're now able to put in strategies to deal with it. We've certainly been aware of this, and we've certainly looked at locations, whether it be within the city or within the country, where there has been a problem.
Yeah, and after these alarming results, will you be looking at doing more?
We'll certainly look at the information. One of the strategies we also have is the Crime Stoppers Make the Call program, which is requiring our people within the community, if they have any concerns or they have any information regarding methamphetamine trafficking or people using or selling, that they can ring the police and we'll take action. So it's about getting people to come on board with us to give us the information so that we can act appropriately within the law.
Seems like the problem is a little bit more intense in the regional centres of South Australia. Do you think we need more police resources out at those the regional areas so we can deal with this problem better?
If you look at the report, the metro area is actually higher than the regional areas. What happens in the regional areas is that because of smaller community, Any problems tend to come to the service a lot earlier. People know who lives in their community, so they're able to see what's happening, change of behaviour, or there's information within the community about a certain person maybe using or maybe selling. So that information comes out a lot quicker, and people are probably willing to talk to the local police, where in the metropolitan area that may not occur so much.
I was going to say, looking at these results with parents testing positive to drugs, dropping off their kids, is that sort of showing? I mean, that must be incredibly alarming. But is that showing there's almost like a generational issue with taking drugs?
It certainly is one of the indicators that we've been using to see what's actually happening within the community. One of the concerns is that drug driving is actually higher than drink driving, so the message about drink driving is getting through. People need to understand that drugs in their system actually last longer, they can't drive, and unfortunately from the results over the weekend or from yesterday, you look at around schooling areas, people were actually taking children to school affected by drugs. Not only are they putting themselves, their children at risk, they're putting other children at risk that may be going to school or other road users.
Has it got to the point where when you guys do breath testing, it's drugs that are the problem in terms of driving over alcohol?
It's a two-pronged approach. It's about making the community that are using the roadways safer, so they have to abide by the laws in respect to alcohol, because we all know the issues there. In respect to drugs, it's about making the community aware that if they have taken drugs, they can't drive heavy machinery. They can't use a car. And concerns are that there's been a lot of media going out recently about the dangers of driving whilst under the effects of drugs. So it's important that people take on that message and make our roads safer.
I guess to people that are using or selling drugs or ice, what do you have to say to them?
Unfortunately, they need to, if they want to seek help, there's places that they can go and seek help. It does put a lot of pressure on not only the family but also the rest of the community. We see other issues such as domestic violence happening because of the unpredictability of their behaviour in some people, and it also puts extra stress on health facilities that may be providing assistance, first aid or whatever it may be. So it certainly does affect the whole community, and if we're able to at least have people reduce the demand for the drug, it would be a very good thing.
And you're confident police are doing all they can to prevent this from going up?
We are certainly looking at every option. We don't stick to one plan. We have a multiple approach to strategies. We work with other agencies. As I said, we work not only within our own state but with other state police services, also the Australian Federal Police Border Force, and we've even moved over working with like the DEA in America and the NCA in the UK. So it's about a global attack at this stage that we're actually putting to the problem.
So Operation Atlas is what you've been about 16 months. Have you actually seen your strategies work and the numbers going down from the start of operation until now?
Well, one thing we've found from Operation Atlas is that we're actually directing our resources towards those types of drugs. We're certainly aware that other drugs are coming through the post, for example. We have Operation Post running, which we work with the Border Force and the AFP, where we actually target the mail system. Because we're certainly aware that people will sit there and use the dark web and to import drugs, and we have had some success there. And that targets not only methamphetamine but other substances that are illicit. One of the things that we're finding is that by doing that, we're focusing on methamphetamine, which is actually causing the problem within the community.
Being the head of the drug squad for some time, what have you seen? Have you seen this problem get worse?
We've actually know what's actually occurring now, and the wastewater information is actually helping us because we're able to direct our resources towards those areas. One thing that we have seen is the large seizures now that are being made. The 1.2 tonne in WA, the 313 kilos into Adelaide. That's coming into here. We've got 119 kilos. So we're talking very large amounts where once upon a time we never saw those. We're now finding that people, crime gangs, whether it be through OMCGs or ethnic groups, are using or purchasing drugs overseas and importing them into Australia rather than making them themselves here, because the precursor chemicals are now being monitored, and we're certainly looking at that. That's not to say that we don't find clan labs here, and that's still occurring. However, we believe that a large proportion of the methamphetamine used here, which is of a very high quality and high purity, is coming from overseas. So we need to work not only with the Australian Border Force, but also the Australian Federal Police and the Australian Criminal Intelligence Commission to deal with this issue.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.